Do you think the highest yield you can get on a savings account these days is 0.05%? Think again. I'm going to show you where to find 3 to 5% interest rates on your savings account. That's right. Join me in this video and you'll learn where to find the magic unicorn. Welcome to Money Med School, where doctors come to learn about money. Join me on a search for the magic unicorn, aka 3 to 5% high yield savings account in this day and age. Have you seen what a bank will pay you to use your money these days? High yield savings accounts used to be 2 to 3%. Now, if you get one that's 0.5%, they advertise it as a, quote, 10 times the average interest rate available. Yikes! You know how a bank works? You deposit your money in a bank account, and the bank takes your money and loans it out to other people while you're not using it. And for this, they charge you banking fees. So the bank profits twice off of your money. And as you've learned in my other videos, money left in a bank account with no job just loses value due to inflation. In this case, your money in your bank account does have a job. It's working for the bank, not for you, which means that your money loses value for you while it's busy earning value for the bank. The other little insult to injury is that banks are being given a delightful gift by the government, low interest rates. The Fed has set borrowing rates low. Well, doesn't that cut into the bank's profit if they can't charge as much for lending money? Not really, because it encourages more and more people to borrow more money. So the bank makes more money by increasing the number of loans they sell. The rub is that the banks do not pass on this delightful gift to you by increasing the amount of money they pay you to use your money. They actually lower the amount they're giving you. How can they do this? Well, because they can. Nobody expects to earn more interest because they know, quote unquote, interest rates are down, and they don't realize how that brings more business to banks, which could be passed on to their customers. Also, FYI, the bank profits when interest rates are high too. They sell higher cost loans. Let's do an example to show what these low interest rates translate to. If I have an emergency fund of $60,000 in a savings account and it earns 0.5% interest, it will earn $300 in 1 year. If that money was invested in a total U.S. stock market index fund with an average annualized return of 7%, I could earn $4,200 on that money in 1 year. Ouch! What sucks about all this is that there's definitely money that you need to be holding in cash in a savings account because you might need it right away. Cash, or any money that's available to you right away, is called liquid. The reason you need money right away is for an emergency. So this money you've got saved up in cash is your emergency fund. This is 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses that you hold in cash for emergencies. What kind of emergency? Well, for example, you break your wrist and you can't work for 2 months. Your job won't pay you, and your disability insurance doesn't kick in for 90 days. So that's 2 months of no income. Or someone in your family becomes ill and you need to care for them for a while. Your job won't pay you, and your disability insurance doesn't cover that. So no income while you're out. Maybe you have to take some time off. Again, nobody's paying you for that. Or, like we saw in 2020, job security for physicians is kind of out the window and you lose your job. It's these big upheavals that cause extended periods of time without income that we're covering for with an emergency account. And also things like a surprise major home repair or other surprise large expense. Most Americans have less than $1,000 in emergency savings. So what happens in an emergency is that they are forced to pay with a credit card and the massive interest rates that come along with it. that debt load can be enough to keep some people underwater for a long time and cause a serious dent in their wealth. So, even though cash in savings is not earning tons of interest, it's still working for you. Its job is to keep you out of credit card debt. It's really hard to let several $1,000s of emergency funds sit depreciating at 0.5% interest rates when you know it could at least be making 7% in the stock market or even 3 to 5% in a bond. But bonds aren't liquid. And stocks, although liquid, run the risk of a sudden price drop right before you need the money, which would outweigh their higher earnings. You don't have to settle for a 0.5% interest rate on your savings. Now we've got a few workarounds that offer 3 and 5% interest rates on your savings. Here's the deal. These rates aren't offered by banks. They're fintech companies. That's FINTECH, financial tech companies. Essentially, they're debit card companies that make money when you use your debit card for transactions. That's their business model. So their business model is not earning based on interest that they charge you. Their business model is they earn money when you use the debit cards for your account. So it's a workaround. Now, despite the fact that these are not banks per se, your investments are secured by the FDIC. And on one other note, I have no financial relationship or interest in any of these companies that I'm going to talk about. So the 5% interest rate accounts are limited to $1,000 each. I mean, you can put as much money as you want in there, but you're only going to get the 5% on the first $1,000. And the 3% account is capped at $100K. Now, these are your emergency fund savings, or your emergency fund, yeah. So you're going to be putting in 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. And that means, if you can only open 5 $1,000 accounts and a $100K account, you're going to probably have to open multiple accounts if you want that $5,000. It's a bit of effort to set them up and keep them organized and to keep organized with multiple accounts, but you're not using them frequently. And if you have the Money Med School personal finance system working for you, this is a no-brainer. So for a little bit of extra effort setting up these accounts, you could dramatically increase the rate your emergency fund is earning. Plus, you won't have the acid reflux feeling when thinking of your money just sitting there earning nothing for you while it gallivants around town earning money for the bank. Let's start with the 5% account. It's called Netspend. You can invest up to $1,000 at a 5% interest rate, and each individual can open up to 5 accounts, so you can save a total of $5,000 at 5%. There's a blogger called the Financial Panther, and he gives detailed instructions on how to set up a Netspend account. So I'm going to put the links in the show notes below to his site, and you can help him out by using his referral code. I have no relationship to this dude either. Then we have the 3% account. This company is called H.M. Bradley. You have to set up a direct deposit, and then as long as you save 20% of what you put in your account, you'll get the Tier 1 interest rate of 3%. You'll get this rate because you're using this as a savings account. You put the money in there, and then it takes 1 quarter, which is 3 months, to begin getting your 3% interest rate because you have to prove that you haven't deducted money from your savings account. So let's go back to our example with the interest rate earnings. $60,000 at 0.5% interest earns $300 per year. If we put it into the options just discussed, $5,000 at 5% interest earns $250 per year, and $55,000 at 3% interest earns $1,650 per year, for a total of $1,900 earned in interest versus $300 in the first year. So $1,600 more in the first year. Now here's where it gets fun. You can decide what to do with that earned interest. You could let that interest stay in your savings and increase your emergency fund, which is helpful if you're still building the fund. But if you're at your target, you could take that earned interest and put it into a U.S. total stock market index fund, let it earn 7%. If you've seen my other videos, you know I use 7% because on average, over the past 90 years, the market has returned 7%, adjusting for inflation. Lately, of course, the returns have been much higher, but I like to use conservative numbers when I'm calculating potential investment returns so that you don't count on earning way more than you might earn. So let's go back to that. Let's see what that gets us. 1900 at 7% per year. So that would earn $133. So at the end of year 1, we've earned $250 from the 5% interest, $1,650 from the 3% interest, for a total of $1,900. Now, in year 2, we earn the $250 from the 5%, the $1,650 from the 3%, for a total of $1,900, and the $1,900, which we put in the market at 7%, earned $133. So our total earnings this year are $250 plus $1,650 plus $133 for a total of $2,033. Okay, in year 3, now we've got our $250 from the 5%, our $1,650 from the 3%, and now our $1,900 in the market has increased to $2,033 because we added that $133 to it, and $2,033 at 7% over the year earned $142 this year. So in year 3, our total earnings are $2,042. Finally, year 4, we got our $250 from the 5% plus our $1,650 from the 3%. And now our market investment is up to $2,175 because we added $142 to it from last year's earnings. So at 7%, $2,175 made $152 in interest. That brings year 4's total interest earnings up to $2,052. Let's compare these to the earnings of those in the 0.5% interest account. If we had just left the money, that $60,000 in our 0.5% interest account for 4 years, in year 1 we would have earned $300 of interest, in year 2 $315, in year 3 $317, and in year 4 $318, for a total of $1,250 earned interest over 4 years. By moving our money into the 5% and 3% interest accounts and then investing the earnings from those accounts into the market, we earned a total of $8,027 over 4 years. It ain't raining Lamborghinis or anything, but $8,000 kicks $1,200 ass. And the longer you do this, the more money you'll have earning in the market. So your returns will grow even more. So that's it. Using a few workarounds and a little extra effort, you can have your cash savings earn way more money. If you found this video helpful, please smash the like button below and subscribe to the Money Med School channel. See you next time.